Even if you find me on memes, I will teach you how to live today. My life is not to be taken away. I am excited to be alive, and that is not down. I am enthusiastic about today because you can't pull me down. When next you hear Down syndrome, think of me as you look up and see a drone. I will keep moving forward. I will keep living my dreams. It's just Down syndrome. I can still live my dreams.
Be part of our brand. Leadership for God and country.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining in, the program is Inside Nigeria, a breakfast show on leadership foundation. And my name is Tinubu, your host for the program. With me in the studio is my Thursday guest, the public affairs analyst, who is also a political economist. I do for life. Thank you so much for your program. Thanks for being here. How are you doing?
Very great.
Great.
I'm great to be back. After I missed the last week.
Oh, yes. Well, good to have you back. Now we're starting with our headline story today is on the public funded foreign trips is on hold for 3 months. And President cautions lawmakers, not distract ministers with oversight obligations. So what do we have here? Because earlier on, the presidency also issued foreign restrictions to his cabinet, of course, giving allotting how do I call it now? People that are supposed to, the number of persons that are expected to travel with some key ministers and even the presidency. And now the president is banning foreign trips for 3 months.
I think it's quite interesting that
Will it make any impact?
definitely it will, because it means that the president has listened to the prayer of Nigerians who have raised the concern that we're having a lot of officials traveling here and there, even for meetings that are not called for. And again, we are looking up for things to have a reduction in our cost of governance. This could also help us, although we are looking for a long-term solution. These are just knee-jerk approach that just in a break for some time, then maybe it may resume later. But it's quite a good one. We welcome it, but we just hope that we sustain, and those officials will definitely pay attention to what the president has said, because president can give this directive, and some of them will still be adamant and say, no, there's a particular conference we also go for. And again, sometimes I don't blame those officials, but I blame some experts and individuals that say, okay, there's a particular conference we're supposed to attend. Nigeria was not there.
That is the public servants that we are talking about. They are the ones that tell politicians
to all this.
So now, Adefolari, before you go further on your thoughts, could this be as a result of the trending story whereby the Accountant General of the Federation and commissioners of states, commissioners for finance went to hold a meeting in London, even amidst the hardship in the country? Could it be as a result of that? Is it a developing story?
Yeah, definitely. It's a developing story that will continue from now even to the next month, that we are still looking at some of the issues around cost of governance and the rest of them. So it was quite a sad for most of us when you saw that
tragedy.
Because we are Accountant General. How would she be able to, without both face, engage in such? And again, the commissioner of finance in the state, none of them could even reason out. And one thing about this foreign people, which most of us have been to study, is an opportunity to load money outside the country. So it could be an opportunity for when the minister, the Accountant General suggested, it could be things that the governors also buying into it, so that it can be opportunity for them to load money out of.
And these commissioners, of course, will go with their spouses, go with their persons, and then you have a
bogus entering out of the country and spending so much money. And for me, I think if they come back or they are back, the next thing is that the president should call the ATF and ask them how much they will spend. They don't know how much they spend, so that we can have a report, so that by the time she is leaving, we can just afford how much he's spending at tenure and how much he's living in that office. Because it's now time that office going to checkmate some of these.
No, and many people are wondering, is it in London or UK that they are going to be spending Nigeria's money, that they have to take their conference all the way to UK to have it, considering the airfare presently and considering the cost of living, paying for all those things. Is it wise? Why is it that this the cabinet cabinet, they are not acting in line. They are telling the people to tighten their seatbelt, to just bear it. Meanwhile, and they are not ready to shift any ground.
You know, I said something that
They
said,
still
I said,
continue with their profligacy.
I said the president may make a statement. Are these officials ready to follow it? If you remember when the president said, I'm going to reduce the number of people that will be going up and down.
Yes.
You get it. Now, this could have become something that can resonate with other members of the cabinet.
Yes.
And with what this man is saying, no, let us cut our coat according to our size, or cut our cloth according to our size, so that tailor can sew it for us. In respect to how much you'll be spending on activities and ceremonial activities like this one. I don't know, it is the taxpayer money that has been wasted in the UK or wherever they have gone to.
Perhaps the people, the cabinet or officials are looking at the president's body language.
Definitely, it could be, but at the same time, that's why I said that we want something sustainable, not something of knee-jerk approach like this that we make statement. And there is no framework, there is no fiat to back it up. Apart from just sending memo out, let's have a fiat, maybe an executive order that will stipulate that this is what I've said and this is how I want it to be. It will go a long way than just saying it blank, blank check manner.
Thank you so much. Now we move away from public funded foreign trips, and the federal government even put it on hold for 3 months. Does that mean that after 3 months the officials can have a ball and splurge on foreign trips?
Definitely, that's what it means. But we are hoping that after 3 months we'll see another 6 months.
Okay, maybe in 3 months the people's Nigerians' eyes are turned away, so you cannot do
now. But that's why I think what will make it more effective is let's have an executive order in this regard. Throughout this 2024, no foreign trips, except for concern issues that we know that it is important, and that one could be maybe United Nations end of the year general meeting, something
September,
like that.
yes,
Or any other organization ceremonial, they can join through Zoom on online processes, and that will be.
But also in May, that is when you have the World Health Assembly. So does that mean the Minister of Health will not go for that?
That's another issue. How important is the world? It's very close. How important is it to the Nigerian economy? Because we have to look at each of these ceremonial activities. How important are they? What have they brought into the economy? How have they added value to our society? Those are the issues we look at. And again, the entourage that is going with the Minister of Health, according to the President, there should not be more than 4 or 3 people. So if he's going to World Health Congress, how many people should go with him? Will you also carry some extra posts around with him to go for? So we consider that.
All right, thank you so much. Now we move ahead to another developing story, still on terrorism financing. The federal government listed 14, 15 terrorists, BDCs, as terrorism financials about 2 days ago, and the story has been trending on the internet. And many allege that some of the names on that list are not actually financials, while some also throws at the BDCs, some of the BDCs that were listed as terrorism financials. What's your take? And this is also on the backdrop of during President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure in office. We saw a situation whereby the UAE, United Arab Emirates, also released some terrorists as some names, as terrorism financials. Unfortunately, the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration failed to do anything about it.
Exactly.
So how sincere are our leaders in actually wanting to fight terrorism?
I think maybe from what Tinubu government have done by listing them, the 14 of them or 15 of them, maybe there's a new narrative or a shift of paradigm from what Buhari did with that. I know the Buhari case was like,
but what happened to the list that the UAE also gave to Nigeria?
The list, according to what we have, most of us have read, they didn't act on it, they didn't arrest anybody. And the claim of the government was that most of those people on that list are not even residents in Nigeria. That was one of the excuses they gave. So there's no way we can prosecute them, there's no way we can arrest them. But this particular one that we are seeing, I think these are people who are in Nigeria. Mamu, for instance, has been in DSS custody for almost a year now. I think he has given enough information to the DSS, which the government is working on. And the BDC that we see.
But sorry, on that Mamu, everybody saw Mamu, publisher of Desert Herald. Everybody saw as a negotiator between federal government and the terrorists.
I think that we misconception.
So how come did he now become?
He was not a negotiator for federal government. If you remember what happened.
Remember that trend?
Yes. If you follow the trend of what happened between Shegumi, Mamu, and the bandit. when he got to the train victim issue, Shegumi withdrew because he sensed something very nasty around the negotiation. He withdrew himself. This guy Mamu was his consultant media affair to him. He was one helping him to write all the press statements. But he now took advantage of Shegumi excusing himself from the negotiation and took over the negotiation by himself. Then what happened? Somebody that could not, nothing rich, nothing wealthy, nothing in terms of luxury item could be identified with him. But all of it within 3 months space, he sent his family, his in-law to Mecca. He sent his children to Egypt for schooling. He bought buildings in Kaduna. So by the time investigation was carried out, they discovered that a lot of money was now found on, including bank accounts that were now swelling in billions of naira. So where did he get the money? So it was not discovered that he actually partook in the sharing formula from the bandit, and that's why he was picked up. So Shegumi sensed that aspect. That's why he withdrew himself. Although recently he started coming back again.
You are practically saying the same thing. He was part of the sharer of the. But how now did he become the?
It was a set of
financial of the terrorists.
Maybe at the end of the day, from
the terrorists he took from.
He now went back. Maybe you know what I'm trying to bring at that. The federal government actually did a spionage operation on giving of the money on this Mamu guy, and he fell for it. Maybe later on, other activity in terms of bandits and things that happened was linked to him according to the ones that were arrested, and that's why they are saying maybe it's a financial.
Yes.
Because
we also saw the case of Mama Boko Haram.
Exactly, Mama Boko Haram. Exactly. So the issue is that for this guy and the 14 people that have been listed, maybe the government will have the power to prosecute them, but they should just be listing their names, but they should have the power to prosecute them later. You let them use the Terrorism Act to test. Let us test the Terrorism Act now. We have never tested it before, but let's use this one to test it whether it will work for us. Even though the capital punishment is not in it, but at least long year sentences in it, so that we can use the test, so that others that will be also captured, we can use the act to test it, because we are not using testing from the angle of law in Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much. Now, we are moving to the developing story on the slain 17 soldiers. A lot has happened.
A lot has happened. It's very sad.
Today's story says slain army 17 to get national honor befitting burial.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts on this thing, on the issues surrounding this thing?
I think when the news broke out on Thursday, I had the opportunity to start speaking on it on Saturday, Sunday, then some days back, and some people wanted to change the narrative through the social media. Somebody came up and said, no, the soldiers, they had the town hall meeting, they did this, they did that. And we have heard the video of the town hall meeting, because you can't hold a town hall meeting in a community and there will be no social media coverage of it. I don't know whether I get it.
So what is your own
the issue is
what
that
is your own narrative?
The narrative here is that, which I agree with the Delta State government, because Delta State government came up with the government that the soldiers were ambushed. They confirmed it, they said they were ambushed. Now, they also said they sent them for a peace mission between the two warring communities. But what happened is that the community that attacked the soldiers was like the community that had more superpower in terms of combination against the other community. To get it, and there was this suspicion by the community that killed the soldiers, as if maybe when the soldiers come, they are going to oppress them, attack them.
Exactly.
So that's why they ambushed them.
Because the narrative was that one of the communities actually maybe had big men in quotes who has access to these soldiers, so he was bringing them to come and
oppress
them and oppress them.
But they never knew that it was the governor that sent those soldiers there. And again,
that also brings me to this question that I also asked yesterday. Is it soldiers that are supposed to be involved in peacekeeping? What about our police?
Thank you. Someone asked me recently enough, and I recorded and I said 2 months ago, 19 mobile policemen were kidnapped. Nobody knows where they are today. Their rifle was taken in the same Delta State. As a result of as a result of community clash. To today, nobody knows where those policemen are. Institute of Peace and Conflict Resolution, in this particular community command, they waded into the issue. They saw the security threat, they withdraw. So the only thing the governors will see is that, okay, let us use the military and see whether this guy can even listen.
How effective are their traditional rulers?
The thing is that because they are all corporate in this, and you know where the issue is? It's about land and the resources in the land. Because if you look at the genesis of how state communities normally fight over oil wells, no oil wells, a oil rig has been discovered in this particular community. So who is going to take ownership? And it is between the border community between these two. And if by the time they say, okay, this community that owns the oil well, you know what it comes to the community, they will be enjoying the employment and all the goodies that comes with it. So that is what is the boiling point of the issue. And the other community that has one complicated power doesn't want it to happen, and that's why it happened this way. But we must also establish that if it is about these resources, the state governor should intervene in quick manner, not in a way that it will allow the issue to fester. Because according to the history of this committee, it has been on for many years. It isn't just something that just happened yesterday. And Governor Bofewa is just trying to find a solution to it.
But what is the way forward? Because we are having a situation whereby the Nigerians, military or security personnel, have become endangered species. We can't forget OD, Zaki Biam, in a hurry. And it was this kind of scenario that happened. I remember I was serving then in River State. As I was coming back home, I saw this trailer load of slain policemen in an open vehicle. And I was actually crying. So it's the same situation.
Exactly.
We still have how many years after? What is the federal government going to put in place to checkmate this kind of issue from spreading?
The issue is that we have a very an open space whereby small arms are open and they are in circulation and they are not being governed. So with this kind of small arms and large weapons in circulation, it's going to be very difficult for any government to tame. Except maybe they'll use force, serious force to tame it. But how many of us will be willing to allow them to use that force? Just like what happened in this Kokoma, before you know, some human rights lawyer begin to blame the military, blame the government because of the mistrust in the system. And you also know that even these small arms and large weapons we're talking about, who are the architects behind it? Who are the ones supplying it to those boys? It is the same political class. So the mistrust are so built up to the point that we can't trust the system again. And to tame this kind of situation, it means that we're going to have a very, very drastic and vital action from the government. And the people that carry that action, I doubt whether this set of people will be able to do that because they're all corporate, or we can also say they are all allegedly blamed for the situation that we found ourselves today.
Interesting. Now, would you say that state police is the way to go?
Definitely, it will go a long way. State police will help us. We may encounter some challenge at the beginning, but with state police, because that will enable community to trust the police. Although the fear is that the governors will use them anyhow. But as time goes on, with review upon review of the State Police Act and how they operate, definitely the state police will be trusted and they can wipe out some of these challenges that we have in our community. If the state police, definitely information have been given and the right source would have been gotten. Who are the people who did this, who did that, and solution would have been found on a lasting path.
All right, thank you so much. Now we are coming back to leaderships. Leadership's headline story says Post-Petroleum Industry Act. Operators exploiting gaps to under-declare crude output.
It's sad because this is not something that just happened. It has been happening right from during the military era. Because just like I pointed out in the other topic, the system, there's a mistrust in the system. There's gap that are giving opportunity whereby the political class have taken advantage of. Instead of allowing the operation to be operated in a way that everybody benefit, rather it has been sidelined in a way that it is them and the oil companies that benefit. If we say operators are not declaring the right thing they are taking, it is because the political class who are in charge allow them to do that because of what they are benefiting. You must have heard a story about oil well was given to different individuals who doesn't even have the well without to even exactly. And these are some of the challenges. So until we get it right through implementation of our law and ensuring that the law doesn't have that lacuna that will create this opportunity for oil operators and the rest of them to take advantage of. If not, we'll continue to lament on this kind of situation.
It's really, really sad. And now back to, okay, let's just talk on CJN, other judicial officers' salaries. What are your thoughts there?
You know, it's give and take. The National Assembly are looking for to increase their own. That's why they are just doing all this with Maro by they're starting with the CGN. Very soon they'll come back to the civil servant and they'll now continue themselves. Because you know the minimum wage is there. By the time you jack up minimum wage to that level that civil servants are crying for, definitely they will complain and say, okay, they need money. That's what will happen. But for the CGN, although I don't know why we make so much noise about what they are collecting, but the issue is that how can we see the figure of what they are collecting?
Because I think one paper put it at 4.2 million
every month. Yes. Is that enough or not enough for a judge? It's enough.
It's enough.
Because if we jack it up more than this, we are giving opportunity for the politicians, the political class to also take their own up. That's what we are creating. Then we now compare the 4.2 that the judge is collecting to the minimum wage that the civil servant is collecting. Who work more? The one that work less collect more. The one that work less collect more. Meaning the one that work all through the days and the month collect. Although there are situations whereby they begin to associate their working condition to because of their health, because of their age, because of their dependency and the rest of them. But we also know that they can cut off some of these things and have and enjoy themselves at the end of the day. But for me, what I know is that with this jacking up of CGN salaries and the rest of the National Assembly are just preparing for
it's something that I know Nigerians are going to resist.
You didn't resist the one of jacking up the judges, so is it their own they want? They will have excuse to ensure that their own also comes up like that.
All right, thank you so much. We move to the Guardian. Guardian's headline story says federal government spends 6 trillion naira subsidy on unavailable electricity in 10 years. I like the way the Guardian painted it, unavailable electricity in 10 years. How come the federal government is spending this huge amount on subsidy for electricity?
It is because of the operation of this system that we have. We have allowed the market, according to them, they have allowed private sector to take advantage of what's there. We have the GENCO, we have the TRANSCO, we have the DISCO. Now, the GENCO generates, and according to what I heard, that from the GENCO side, there are government-owned generating equipment that because of the private sector initiative, they don't allow them to generate. And those, yes, now the government-owned equipment that's supposed to be generated, and they generate, when they generate more, and their price is less. Imagine federal government-owned generating and selling power for 24 naira or 23 naira. Meanwhile, the private sector will sell it for 35 naira. Now, that 35 naira they are selling, and they will transmit it to the transmission. The transmission will now give it to the bulk marketing company to sell it to the DISCO. Then the DISCO will come and evacuate what they can take. Then when they distribute it, they will distribute all. Then at the end of the day, they will be giving through estimated billing they collected from people who doesn't even have light for 1 hour or 2 hours. That is where they are talking about their unavailable light.
However, from the picture you just pointed, I also heard that the GENCOs or this transmission, they are actually transmitting more than enough, but these DISCOs are not distributing.
Exactly. The issue is that they will claim they don't have money to buy from the bulk company. So they only buy and give. That's why you see this perennial, this area will have light, this one will not have light, and then they will use estimated billing to collect money from everybody. That's where this unavailable light.
But why these DISCOs, why are they not expanding their scope? A situation whereby we still have more than how many households unmetered? I mean, what does it tell for them?
One thing we also need to understand, because of the expansion of urban centers and population growth and use of electricity across the world, that one is also controllable. But as you rightly pointed, why can't they expand their the network of their electricity? They don't want to spend. They are in debt, and they spend more money on salaries and allowances of their workers.
Most of these DISCOs, the banks have actually taken, some banks are taking over
some because of the debt. You know, the failure we had was that when we sell these things, we sell it to people that doesn't have the money.
Yes,
they went and
that was
borrowed
what
money
happened during Jonathan's administration.
They went and borrowed money and started the business. And when they borrow money, they pay more attention to management with fat salaries than investing money in the infrastructure of the electricity. Do you still remember that CBN spent over 30 trillion to electricity stabilization fund on this stuff that we are talking about, but it never worked. Why? Because when the CBN was giving them the money, they were using the money to settle the bank loan, and they are settling their management. So when they begin to change management for management, they were paying arrears and what they call gratuity to them to leave.
There was a time before Emefiele left, they froze their account. They were not going to allow them to access their
Definitely. They did that, but at the end of the day, it has been open for them to use. But the main challenge is these guys, the DISCO, make money, but they did not invest in infrastructure. That's why you see that when a community is trying to get electricity, they buy transformer for themselves, they buy pole, they buy the cable wire. They also paid for the installation. But guess what? After you do all these things, then they will tell you they will give you light for 6 months for free. They will still come back and collect the money. Now they will not tell you after that 6 months that cable, that transformer belong to them. How come? And it is not in the Electricity Act that they should take over those infrastructure. And they will give you the excuse that even if you want to do, you must write to them. That if you don't write to them, if you do it on your own, they will still claim it. Why? And a funny argument that many of the supporters of this Genco and the rest of putting that, and it is not cost reflective. And I asked one question. I said, what about consumption reflective? Why are we not having consumption reflective? Because consumption reflective means that if I consume, I pay what I consume.
Yes.
But here we are, I consume and I don't pay what I consume, but I only pay for estimated billing. And that's where we have challenges. I think NEC is having a town hall meeting across Nigeria.
Now, with this new electricity act, the federal government, headed by President Bola Tinubu, signed into law, what is going to happen?
It demand investment, but I would not want the state governors to fall into the trap of just going and bring anybody. You know, not to rush. Just go and bring anybody in and say, come and invest. Some of those guys are very smart guys. They will claim they have money. We have seen it in the estate development area. Like the one I did a particular work on. They came into the state. They said they want to help the government to build estate. The government give them land. Then that's okay. There's a counterpart funding that the governor will bring about 5 billion. They will bring 2 billion. After the governor said, go and build it. Go and start. They refused to start for 2 years. Until they now went and borrowed money from FMG and the rest of them. They now started building. So what they were thinking was to collect the state-owned money and use it to build and claim they are paid. This same thing is happen if the state are not careful about this electricity act. If they just bring investors in and the investors claim to have money and they didn't check them very well, they will also claim that they have spent so much. That's why we have issue like the PID.
Yes, yeah, we're also having the same issue with this
Mabila Plaza, where people claim that they have spent money.
Yes.
Meanwhile, they didn't spend money.
Some are saying the federal government should just go ahead and pay them. Without incurring.
Because there will be a lot of legal tussle
Don't
between
scare
the state.
credible investors. They will settle with Sunrise Mabila.
It's a lie. Nobody.
But why is it that, like I always say, the problem with administration is mostly the civil servants. They go back and sign this project. That's what happened with P&G.
Yes, that P&G. They go ahead because they have discovered that they are also collecting their own 2%, 3%. And most of before you know it, these guys will be out of the system. Like the one in the PIG, they claim that one of them have died. They claim the other one has left. Yes, one have left the country. So this is what happened. So for me, on this electricity act that is coming, autonomous, decentralizing it, the state governors should be very, very careful the kind of investors they are bringing in, either foreign or local. It is better the state government go and borrow money and establish a substation and generate electricity and sell it. And start with a small community of 5,000 and get the money from there.
That is state government doing business.
That would be best. But when you say
at least you even come and subsidize,
subsidize, although they will want to start with a very big price, but later on they will bring it. But they say they are waiting for investors. They will wait and wait. Investors like a 419 will come. But I like what Lagos state government is doing. They went back to the IPP stuff they were doing initially. They went back President Tinubu. So they are trying to rejuvenate it, to bring it alive, and hope that when that is on board, now investors can come. Then ask him, how much do you have? Then collect that one and keep it to yourself. Then continue with what you have. What they have done so far. I think that would be the best option for them.
All right, thank you so much. Now on a cherry note, Naira is 1,300. Presently is 1,400 per dollar at the parallel market. So what are we looking at? What does it portend for the economy?
It's a good one, but it's not where we are hoping to get. We are hoping to get to 800 naira according to the budget parameter. That is what we are looking for. But at this point, it's still subject to how CBN is trying to do all the manipulation within their own power,
uploading forex
and the rest of them, and also collecting loans here and there, selling treasury papers. So these are the things that CBN is doing to really get money to fund the forex market. But the issue is that it will still go back. By the time they want to pay back the money, they will still have to pay with principal and interest. So that's why we need to be very careful with this. But what the CBN have done is that they have put a threshold. It can't be more than 1,300 naira. And that's the threshold they are using for the BDC. So that's their target. But for the importers, they are saying 1,004 or 1,005 something because they know that the generating tariff that government is targeting, they don't want that one to be disappointed because of the 18 trillion they are targeting for 2024 budget. And that's why they maintain that 1,546 naira for the importers at that level.
Okay, thank you so much. Now we also have the Port Harcourt refinery coming on stream in maybe this month.
That's what they say in 2 weeks' time. But many Nigerians are saying that it will behave like Thomas Delta until we see until we see folks coming out with the product from that refinery. That's when we're not okay. These guys mean business. Then they supply filling station. Although we are also hearing that the marketers are saying that once they start picking from there, then the price of the food will fall. I mean the price of PMS will fall. But I know it will start with NNPC. the 617 they are selling at this point, if we start, because and what NNPC is targeting is for their own, their own outlet.
Okay.
That many people should not think that all these other people will get. No, it is their own outlet they are targeting first, so that by the time they take it to the outlet, the price can come down to like 600 or thereabout, or 550.
But that is a good one.
That is a good one, because many people will now rush to that.
And we're also going to have Dangote.
Definitely, Dangote. We hope it also come on stream, because it's very important, so that it can help, because the refinery in Port Harcourt will not supply the entire Nigeria,
Yes.
but definitely it will reach all the NNPC outlets.
Okay.
And you see, NNPC is also targeting how to colonize all those other outlets that are not having enough product for them. So that's why they are changing and expanding them to NNPC outlets.
All right, thank you so much, Adekola. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program. You have so many words of experience to drop on. It's always my pleasure. And on this note, we end today's Inside Nigeria, your breakfast show on Leadership Television. My name is Winnie Bevo. Of course, I've had the pleasure of having in company a public affairs analyst, a political economist, Adekola Olamilekan. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
So till I come your way again, same time, same station. Here's wishing you a beautiful day. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 08036886158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.